Hi everyone, Melanie here from Balloon Artworks in Derbyshire in the UK, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make this 50th birthday balloon bouquet. So let's just open it up. And lay that out flat on the table. So you're looking for the valve here, and that's this little silver circle here. Just insert your hand pump behind the red tab and then just start to inflate. This balloon is made up of 2 chambers, so what you need to do is apply pressure. The 2 chambers are connected up here. So what you need to do is just apply some pressure, very gentle pressure, and the air will start to move from this chamber into the next one. And then you can just carry on inflating. But if you feel one side filling up, just press down, and that will start to inflate the other side. Okay. Okay, so you can see we're starting to get very close to that being fully inflated. So I think I can put a little bit more air in there, because what I'm checking how soft this side is, and that still feels quite soft to me. But you just need to go very gently and slowly at this point, because it's very easy to over-inflate. So when I press on the balloon now, it feels nice and firm, but I can still walk my fingers along the side here and they spring back, okay? That's what you're looking for. I'm using the 260 and I've just snipped off the tip end. I'm going to use this 260 and just roll up the neck of the valve. Okay, until I get to about 1 inch from the side of the balloon here. And then at this point, I fold that valve in half. And then I tie this in a knot. Okay, and once I've tied once, I tie a second time. So that just finishes that off neatly. For the first cluster of the base, I'm using 8 black 11-inch rounds, and I'm just double stuffing them, and that's because I want that first layer just to be that little bit more durable. So this doesn't take very long to do at all, and it makes a big difference to how durable the base is. So if you're concerned about where the base is going to be situated, or you don't know, it's best to do this. Some electric balloon inflators aren't powerful enough to inflate double stuffed balloons, so you may just need to start them all off. And that's kind of just relaxing the latex a little bit, and it's going to make it easier for your inflator to inflate them. If you have something like the premium inflators, then they should be fine. we're inflating to 9 inches. Size the balloon until it goes smoothly through there. I then like to put a twist in the neck of this balloon and then just hold on to it. That's going to trap the air. Size the other one the same way. Put a twist in that neck as well. Take hold of the inner necks of the balloons. Okay. Cross the necks over one another, wrap around, tie. Okay, just round off slightly. If you want to make another one of these, take your other duplicate, place it on top of the bottom duplicate, and then just swap the balloons round. Again, we're inflating to 9 inches, so just let out the air until the balloon passes through, but the sides of the balloon still touch the sides of the aperture. Do the same thing with this balloon. Take the necks, pass the necks over one another, wrap around and tie. And then just round off a little bit. Take your 2 duplicates, press one over the other. Place your silver cluster on top of your black cluster and just take one of the necks from the lower cluster and pull that up through the base layer, through the top layer, sorry. You want 2 balloons on the bottom and 1 on top, so you want them to be offset in this way all the way around. Take hold of that neck and just wrap it around that top cluster. Okay, in a figure of 8 motion. And if you're at all concerned, you can take one of the necks from the silver cluster and do the same thing. So pull that up through into the base and wrap around in a figure of 8. And there's your base. I've made a very heavy sand weight. This one weighs almost 1 kilo. If you want to know how to make these sand weights, I'll leave a link in the description to my tutorial, and I'll leave that link in the description below. Okay, so just take that weight, take hold of the neck and pull that into the base, pull it up through both layers of balloons and wrap that neck into that top layer. Okay, until you can't wrap it around anymore. And again, if you're at all concerned, you can take hold of one of the silver necks and tie that on. And that just gives you some extra reassurance. Take those 260 tails and use them to pull that 0 into the base and just figure of 8 those 260 tails around the balloon. Really well. And that's going to connect this 0 to the base. I'm using 2 black 260s and just tying the nozzle ends together. Okay. Run that 260 through your fingers and remove all the air. I'm able to do that because I have snipped off the tip end of the 260 and then just tie on another 260. Okay, so that's given us a long connection of 3 260s. Take your number 5 and your 260s and just tie the number 5 onto the 0. So you're just tying those 260s at the back, not too tightly, but we just want there to be enough pressure to hold the number 5 in place. Okay. partially inflated this star foil, and I'm just going to pinch off a little bit of the tip and use a 160 here to wrap around the end. And then tie a knot. Okay, and then I can tie a second knot. So I've tied up that foil balloon and I'm just using those tails from the 260 to pull into the balloon base, wrap around and secure the foil balloon to the base. So I've tied up the valve of the number 5 balloon in the usual way, and I'm going to use the tails from the valve and just loosely tie them onto these tails here on this foil balloon. Okay, we want a little bit of play in there, so we don't want to tie them too tightly. So you've got perhaps about an inch and a half, something like that. I've got some 12-inch rounds in graphite, size 2, between 6 and 7 inches, and I'm just going to pull that one in the front, wrap it into the base. Okay, and then I've got a duplicate here, similar sort of size, that I'm going to wrap in. Next, take some 5-inch round balloons and inflate to between 3 and 4 inches down the side. So these are going to be organically sized, randomly sized. I make lots of these duplicates in different colours. To make a cluster of 3, take one of your duplicates, wrap in a 3rd balloon, and then you can just trim off these necks and nozzles, and that just keeps everything nice and tidy. I'm going to use some of these duplicates in clusters of 3 just to wrap into this section here, start to firm up the connections. I'm adding a few more 12-inch duplicates, sized to about 6.5 inches, just tying them onto a 260, so I can pull that 260 into the front and wrap around the back. Where I'm going to connect another duplicate. I've again underinflated a star balloon and added 2 connection points, and I'm just going to inflate this now, finish off inflating. I'm using a long bit of 160 to create a connection point here. I'm not going through the hole here, I'm just wrapping the 160 around. So I find that if you use the hole connection point for something like this, they can be a little bit weak and can tear. Tying that on, and then once it's tied once, try a second time. And then I'm going to do the same thing with this connection point here. Take the star balloon and just tie on loosely here. We don't want it to be too firm. You want to allow for a little bit of movement if it's needed. I'm going to create another connection point here, and then I can take this star balloon across and tie on here. I'm going to use a few more duplets and add them up here, just to start to firm everything up. I've tied up the neck of this balloon in the normal way, the way I showed you earlier in the video. Just take those tails from the connection point that you made and tie them together onto this star balloon. And we can add some more duplets here. I'm using 1 reflex red and 2 chrome silver, twisting up a bubble and then tying that in at the back. Do the same thing with the chrome, twist up a bubble, wrap that around and just wrap together at the back. With the final chrome, twist off a bubble and wrap around. I've got some 5-inch reflex red, just inflated to about 3–3.5 inches, and I'm going to pull these in up here just to add a bit of colour. Twisting off the bubble, wrapping the 260 around and twisting everything in at the back, wrapping that round, twisting off the bubble, wrapping that round. I'm using duplets and clusters of 3, size between 7 and 5 inches. just use some clear tape to stick these tabs back so they're out of sight.